Well, hi, we're back.
Welcome. We're glad
Nice to
that
have
you're
you here.
here.
Yeah, yeah. So what we wanted to talk about today is finding the field. We've talked about this poem by Rumi, beyond the ideas of right doing and wrong doing, there's a field. I'll meet you there.
Now, I want to stop you on that
Okay.
so that it gives people a chance to understand what was just said. So, beyond right doing and wrong doing, what that means to me is beyond my position about how life is and how things should be, there's a field. And in that field, there's possibility.
Yeah, and so we've coached a lot of people around relationship. The last few years, it's like almost everybody that comes to us, they've got a relationship issue. And what we found that is so successful is when people can understand the nature of the mind that's creating this right doing and wrong doing. And it is the nature of the mind. You see, when our mind evolved, its primary job was to keep us alive, survival, right? We were always on the lookout. We used our brain to be able to perceive danger before we got eaten or fell off a cliff or whatever. But what's interesting is that our culture, our society has evolved so much faster than our brain. We no longer have wild animals running around that we've got to look out for.
True.
We don't have those kinds of dangers, but our mind is still looking for the dangers.
Yeah, we want to be safe.
Yeah,
That's what the mind is always looking for.
yeah. And so what the mind does is it takes these abstract things that occur and turns them into these wild animals or great dangerous things. Like if somebody says something that they're kind of blaming me for something, I go right into fight or flight. I go right into that. This has got to change. Something's got to change here. The mind translates these very abstract things into threats, almost as though it's life threatening. And so when we're coaching people, we help them to understand the nature of the mind. One is what's going on when we get triggered. It may not actually be what's being said. Somebody may be saying these words that are blaming me of something, but is it the threat that my body is taking it to be because my mind is seeing it in that kind of distorted way?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the main point of our coaching is to help people understand the nature of the mind and also to understand how life works. That these feelings that come up in me so strongly as though someone blaming me for something is life threatening. It's that we're feeling our moment to moment thinking. This thinking that's generated by the mind doing what it's designed to do is believed to be life threatening.
Yeah, what happens is when we hear words that trigger some feeling, strong feeling in us, we make up a story about what is being said or what could have happened that created this whole incident. And it's not true. It's just a story created by the mind to make sense of the circumstance.
And when it creates that story that isn't completely accurate, that is, it's accurate about the facts. The person said these words that blame me. But what's not accurate is that this is life threatening.
Well, also, what's not accurate, I know with our interaction, there isn't blame coming from here, and you
And I
interpret
can
it
hear it as
as
blaming.
blame.
Yeah. So,
Yes,
this goes right in with our previous blogs about separate realities, how she can say one thing from her reality. I hear it completely differently from my reality.
true.
So it gets in this cycle. So this is what our coaching is all about, to help people understand the nature of the mind, understand how life works. It's from the inside out.
Say more about
The,
that.
the feelings that I have, if it feels like it's life-threatening, I'm responding to the story inside me. I'm not responding to the words that were said outside of me. It's not outside in. Those words of blame did not make me feel that way. And you've probably experienced this. Sometimes somebody will say something blaming, and it's like water off a duck. It's just like, "Oh, well, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but it's what happened." And other times they'll say something blaming. It's like, "Oh, I'm responsible for how they feel. I've got to fix this, so they can feel. So it's never outside in. It's what I'm telling myself on the inside, these stories that Connie's talking about, which we will never stop because it is the nature of the mind.
Well, one thing that's interesting as you begin to see through this more and more, you recognize that circumstances outside are neutral. They only have the meaning that we give them. They don't have the meaning that we put on them and assume is total reality.
Yeah, and that's how we create our separate realities. It's the meaning that we put on circumstances that are actually neutral. So, yeah, that's what our coaching is all about. The nature of the mind, you'll never stop it because it's designed to do that. What can change everything, and this is what brings people back together in relationship, is when we recognize this is the nature of the mind and we don't start believing the stories the mind makes up. When I get triggered now, this shouldn't happen, or I wish this had worked this way, and you're to blame. Whenever that story starts coming up now, I recognize that feeling, and that feeling tells me I should probably pause here and reflect as to whether what I'm believing is true. So we've talked about in previous blogs too, how our feelings are like a built-in GPS to tell us where to go to come back to peace. If I have strong feelings, that's like my GPS saying, I'm kind of running into the guardrail here. I better slow down and get better perspective so I can get back in the middle of the road.
Yeah, it's like I'm misinterpreting life. Our emotions are a wonderful prompt that when we don't feel good, we're misinterpreting something and we can slow down and let the mind relax and see more clearly what is actually occurring.
Yeah, so it's coming back to the Rumi poem, beyond ideas of right doing and wrongdoing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. These ideas of right doing and wrongdoing, these are the stories that Connie's referring to. It's the meaning of right or wrong that we put on something that is in essence neutral. For example, I have a client who got caught in this cycle of feeling blamed for something that had occurred because her partner loves watching sports, and they went out one night and he missed the first game of the World Series. Well, that was okay. He did that, but then had arranged to watch the second game, and it didn't work on the TV that she had. And so he said, "Geez, this is the second game that I've missed because of you." She heard that as blame. And so the whole thing started, I'm responsible for his feelings. I got to fix this. Oh, I feel so much guilt and shame, and the whole cycle. And it's like this wedge that came between them. But can you see how the meaning that he put on watching a World Series game was a little different from the meaning she put on watching a World Series game? It's just the separate realities. But that doesn't have to be a wedge that comes between you. The mind, his mind did nothing wrong. It said threat. The second time, I'm going to miss something that's meaningful to me. When we can see that what we really want in our being together, which was going to be to watch this game, is to feel close together. We want to come together. But because the plan didn't work out, we don't feel together. And so often we try to move things around, keep working with the facts to fix it so that either I'm not blamed or you'll get what you want and I'll compromise. And it's like moving furniture. But the Rumi poem points to beyond these ideas, all these stories, there's a field. And that field is this field of all possibilities. And it's that field that actually I feel is that field of who we really are. And as we've said before, we believe who we really are is love and peace and joy, happiness. We are not our thoughts. We are not this body. What we want to do is get back to our true nature, and from there we'll find a way for us to be close in whatever circumstance shows up.
And that's the field Rumi's pointing to.
That's
It's
the field.
beyond right and wrong. It's the field of our closeness, the field of feeling one with my partner or others.
So the tricky thing is when you're really triggered, sometimes it's hard to just drop it and drop into this field. And as we talked about this situation with my client, it was kind of like in hindsight, so this is hypothetical, I don't know if it would have worked or not, but what can we do to move forward without just moving furniture around, to move forward for us to be together, to feel together again in coming to a solution? And one thought that came up was just to ask the question, what can we do to solve this? Because in that bringing our attention to what can we do to solve this, we're suddenly back on the same page. We've kind of stepped into this field out of right doing and wrong doing. We've left all that behind. We don't have to try and get them to stop blaming us. We just need to get them to come to the field where there is no blame. Yeah, it's really fascinating. It's fascinating. And so this is what's been so successful with our clients, is they begin to establish this new relationship of with each other and particularly with themselves. So when they get triggered, they don't take that as a call to action. I've got to defend myself. They've got to see it differently. All of that. It's let's find the field. It's about finding the field.
Yeah, and in just having the desire to find the field, we open our awareness. We evolve and grow. Yeah. And in noticing these times when we're triggered, when we're telling ourselves a story, that's evolution. We evolve and grow. It's all good stuff.
Yeah. It's in that field that we find the answers, and that's where we find our growth. It's a beautiful thing.
So, recipe. Now, we've tried every mac and cheese in the vegan world.
Vegan, yeah, there you go.
That we've thought might have some deliciousness, and we haven't liked any of them. But Bill created a recipe that was fabulous, and we're sharing it with you. Tell them about it.
Vegan mac and cheese. Well, see, the one thing I think where mac and cheese falls a little short is that it's not very high nutrient dense. You've got your, even vegan cheese, and you got pasta, and it's like, well, neither of those are necessarily real nutrient dense. So we used a butternut squash as a source, and that's real high in antioxidants, beta carotene, good nutritional base, and the nutritional yeast, that's good. And what we did besides making just mac and cheese, so the pasta, we didn't actually use macaroni, elbow macaroni like the classic, but we used a small penne pasta that works for us. The pasta and then the cheese, and then we added a whole clamshell, those big 11-ounce clamshells of spinach. Wilted the spinach down and folded that in to add that greens component, because greens are the most nutrient dense foods on the planet. Nutrient dense meaning the most nutrients per calorie. So yeah, we thought it came out great.
And we used cashews to give it
the rich, fatty quality of cheese.
Yeah, that's great. So give it a go if you want. It's easy to make. And it is delicious. It gave us 4 meals, 2 for.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
2 for each.
2 days.
2 days. Yeah. So I love that. And you could use it as a one-pot meal because it's got the spinach in it, but we wanted more greens. Yeah. So we did tatsoi and cabbage and zucchini with it. Yeah. Delicious.
Can't get enough greens.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us. And we'll be back again next week.
Bye.